Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is The Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games in a hunt for the best score of the Decathlon. If you like what you see, remember to hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. Let the games begin. This is Motorsport Manager, episode number 9. We continue with our journey to try to catch the back of the pack and start having some competitive races. In the meantime, as we're about to head to Munich, though, we are getting really close to a couple upgrades. Factory and Design Center both done in one day. We've got Scouting Facility, Staff Center nearby, and I'm actually going to go ahead and take a moment to look into, well, what's available to us. Upgrades, nothing there. Forecasting Center available, and nothing else at the moment. We need the level 2 factories. So with that nearly done, we'll be able to start investing once again into some headquarters upgrades. But of course, we gotta watch the funds while we're at it. With 45 million, plenty of money, but we're losing 1.5 per race. And in terms of sponsorship money, it's going to be a little while before we see a big boost from that yet again. We have 5 races till this deal is done, and 3 deals all expiring in 6 races from now. So we've got a little bit of time to cover before we're going to see an influx of money again. Alright, so we're ready to head into the race. Again, like I said, there's a 40% chance of rain, so there's a pretty good chance. It's a 56 lapper, very low tire wear, meaning we're probably going to be on the softs or mediums for a good chunk of it, and not necessarily the hards. So we'll only bring 3 sets there. Probably bring 5 sets on mediums and everything else soft. And we'll take a look at the parts, see if anything has changed here. And it certainly has. We've added tire wear efficiency improved as we've done some work on brakes here. And they're both going to see upgrades from that now. Definitely getting a little bit closer, just inching our way in there. But of course, we're still so far off the back. It is a difficult prospect to do something this season. We need to see some more DNFs out of the rest of the field. I've seen this mod in other playthroughs have 4, 5, 6 DNFs every single race. We've been down around 2 or 3, making it that much more difficult to get some sort of decent placing to finish ahead of a team. Really, we need these teams that are pointsless at the back to have those DNFs so we can start finishing ahead of them a couple times, because on track, obviously, we're just too far off the pace. Every weekend, I keep hoping we'll get a little bit closer, but 2 seconds a lap is a lot. Put you a couple minutes behind by the end of the race. Alright, so 50 something laps. Mediums will easily go on a one-stopper. That's 60 laps combined minus a couple. So yeah, we should be able to go from mediums to softs. And then the big test is, do you want to go on mediums where you're slow for a long period of time or gain a lot of speed on the softs? I think you'd probably rather put the bonus on the mediums, where you're going to spend a much bigger chunk of the race, 65% or so. Okay, now we need to start worrying about the balance. Of course, that's the main thing we're here for right now, is getting that straightened out. Looks like downforce and handling We're going to need quite the change. Okay, that should be enough to get us going. We'll head into practice here and see if we can't get this right sooner rather than later. Of course, we're going for the race trim. Sadly, there's a wasted 15 seconds. Alright, both cars out on track. We'll get them around, get the adjustments made. We'll go for it. Looking at the other cars, nobody is using the mediums. They're either on the hard or the soft. That could play to our advantage, as that hard compound is going to be quite a bit slower than the medium. At least I would expect it to be. 93% on our first go. That's a nice start, handling spot on. Time to spend as much time making adjustments to get it down. Almost identical for Deegan on where she's at. Actually, it is identical, 93%. Round around we go. Where we stop, everybody knows. It's in the pits. Uh-oh. Well, that didn't go so well. We dropped 2%. And we went from great to great. The handling will be easy to tweak back the other way, but no sign of getting what we need out of the speed balance. And something obviously went the wrong direction, but it's going to be hard to tell which it is. So we're definitely not going to have it down this time. And I think I figured out which one it is. Speed balance going the wrong way. Or if I could cancel. Oh, I can. There you go. Save us some time here. We lost 15 seconds, but we don't have to do a whole lap going the wrong direction on the speed balance. You're going to want to be pretty close to the edge. We'll stay right there for now. That brings the handling exactly where it needs to be. Puts us right on the edge there. That brings us inside the edge. I think that's going to be good. Alright, well, Crone loses a little bit of time. Practice time on that. Okay, getting close. The hard work is done. up to 95%, and the downforce is going to be back at the edge. Now the big thing will be tweaking these to get them in their happy zone, and that should do it. We're going to go for a long run. For Crone, we got it right. 98. Close enough. It's all purple. So we're going to go grab some bonuses. There's level 1. Tire heating looks better on this track than most. We're holding pretty even on neutral and at least slightly cooling. Halfway to level 2. Long term, you can see it's actually kind of just holding steady as it's warmed up a little bit here. Level 2. Plenty of fuel. We'll get to level 3 here shortly and then bring them in. We'll switch and see what we can get at the other end of things. Soft and qualifying. Okay, getting a little closer, little closer, little closer. Okay, Deegan, you're gonna come in now. Okay, good. Triple purple. Wanted to check that. Bring her in first, 98%. We're almost there to level 3 and plenty of time to make it happen. So let's go ahead and we're going to switch you. Start working the other set. And are you going to make it before? Yeah, come on, come on, come on. I'm going to go slow for now. I think Crone's got it. There we go. Bring in just in time as she comes around the final turn. Could we actually get a qualifying bonus of some kind? Qualifying. 3 laps. Soft tire. Go get 'em. Alright, so both pushing now. Deegan should improve our times quite a bit. 7 seconds off the pace of Hamilton. Still, ouch. Time is up, and I'm not sure we're going to hit that first bonus. We are so close to it. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, oh, oh! A tenth of a lap of running, and we would have had at least a bonus. Not that it matters at all. I mean, we're going to take the medium bonus in the race. But that is still, looking down there, that's still 2.3, 2.2 off the pace. And that's Van Dorn on the hard compound, not even on the soft. His teammate, right, on the soft, is 3 seconds ahead of us. Apparently we're back off the pace again for this track. The rain could be my best chance. Actually, it really could be my best chance of getting a result. Not catching the cars in front, but by getting... Oh? Oh, okay. Go ahead and simulate. No point running it until we actually get competitive and get anywhere near the rest of the field. At this rate, it's looking like it could be the entire season before we ever have that Vettel provisional. Right now, in first place, Bottas, Hamilton, Leclerc, top 3. And of course, we're at the back. 3 seconds, a full 3 seconds behind Stoffel Van Doren. Yeah, our times haven't been this bad for a while, so I'm not sure what about this München race, this Munich track, is so bad for our car that really isolates our weaknesses. Vettel again fastest here in Q2. Hamilton, provisional till now. Vettel goes top again by 1/10 of a second. The gaps are pretty much the same as they were before. And unlike real life, Vettel here with an almost half-second gap over Leclerc, though Leclerc has been far better than Vettel in real life this season. The first handful of races, Leclerc showed his stuff, and Ferrari absolutely favored Vettel at every opportunity and screwed Leclerc again and again. And so Vettel was slightly ahead of Leclerc in the standings. And then now Vettel is struggling so much that they finally cut Leclerc loose and let him go. And he's had some really good results lately. And if Ferrari hadn't screwed Leclerc from day one, he would be miles ahead of Vettel in the standings right now. No, we don't want to be in the soft compound. To start the race, we'll finish on it, but we'll take the mediums now, especially from the back. I don't want to lose time actually being close to other riders. Okay, we'll push, but probably only for about a lap or so. And let's go racing. 5 red lights. We've got these guys all locked in. You soft, you soft, you soft. And then hard compound for all but 2 other riders and Jean-Eric Verne going for the soft. So I think we could have a real advantage with this one, but 5 red lights here in Munich for the Grand Prix, and let's go racing. Lights are out. Good start by both drivers. Deegan, though, gets checked up behind the Alpine racer, but we're at least up besides both Manor cars, and Krohn finds the space that Deegan couldn't as she was blocked, and Deegan gives Krohn space, and Krohn takes advantage of it. Deegan slipping back to 24th here. Not a bad start by either driver, but Deegan, for how many races in a row, gets checked by other cars, and Krohn finds a way to slip through. But here we are, 23rd, 24th, after just a handful of turns. This time, though, it is Deegan ahead of Krohn, and we'll see if she actually pulls away this time. She's got the better car, and at least in terms of driving ability, these two are neck and neck. They are about level with each other. So Deegan should be 4 or 5 tenths a lap faster than Krohn. We'll see if that proves true. Right now, there's 8 tenths of a second between them after just 1 lap. We haven't slipped back yet, but it's bound to happen. Let's go times 2 here early on. Gap starting to open up. No problems in the field yet. Lando Norris locked up, and there's plenty of traffic in front of us. These guys are still tightly packed. Felipe Massa has crashed. Felipe Massa, that was the corner right there. Felipe Massa is out of this race and back into the garage. Looking a la Kimi Räikkönen. Funny thing is I consider those two drivers pretty close to one another, actually, in terms of skill. Alright, so Deegan opening up that gap. It's a couple seconds now to Krone, but we're 5 seconds down, and it's only on lap 3, so through 3 laps we've lost 5 seconds on the back of the field. That's with them even being bunched up. So let's go ahead and look to the surprise at the front of the field. It's Lance Stroll. No, it's Max Verstappen in front. Still can't get over that mix-up with all the pictures. Many of them, anyway. So Max Verstappen leading this race, and none other than Pierre Gasly is behind him. Bottas with an issue here. It looks like he has picked up a penalty and has a problem. He's got a mechanical. So he has come into contact with another driver. He had a big lockup apparently that led to it, and big flat spot on his tires. So Bottas will pit, and he is going backwards. So Bottas has potentially ruined his race here early on as he heads into pit lane. It's a drive-through penalty for Valtteri Bottas. So he still has a problem on the car, potentially a wing that's damaged, plus the flat-spotted tire. So he will have to come in a second time. He's already down to P17. Fighting now with the McLaren and the Williams in the back. There's the Alfa Romeo in front of him. You can see he's kind of only just hanging on with these guys. When you add in the damage that he's taken, he actually just bottled it right there as he locked up heading in. It's a good pit stop though. Whatever it was a quick fix. Guessing that was just a front wing replacement. Short amount of time for that one. They give him fresh tires, they get him back out on the softs, and off he goes. Bottas is behind Courtney Krone and Hailie Deegan already coming up on Krone. He should make very quick work of this pass, as this is the Mercedes we're talking about here. And just like that, he gets around. He really didn't lose any time at all making that pass. By the way, what the heck am I doing? It was supposed to be 1 or 2 laps at most. And oops. I did have time to spare on those tires, but I think I burnt a lot of extra rubber off of those, running them way too hot there. Bottas still caught in between, just now catching up. There's a good 7-second gap between Deegan and Krone, so Deegan in much better form today than of late. Of course, she was having a fitness problem last time out on one of those random things that popped up. Bottas very quickly gets around. I think Bottas only lost about a tenth of a second at most, passing our 2 cars, and we drop back yet again to 22nd and 23rd on the grid. Looking at all the cars that started on the softs, the used softs, they're all still out there besides Bottas, and they're all on similar tire wear signs, a little bit worse for wear, but they'll hold for a while. Meanwhile, it's still the Red Bulls out in front. Verstappen, Gasly coming around. It's Hamilton just behind him and Vettel just behind him, so it's pretty tightly bunched between 2nd and 5th place, with about a second in between each of those drivers. Little gap back to Nico Hulkenberg as best of the rest in P6. Teammate Daniel Ricciardo just behind him. Sergio Perez in P8. Carlos Sainz P9. Again, he's a little bit having a slightly rough go as his tires are pretty close to gone, so he'll be pitting probably next out of anyone. Raikkonen in P10, last points paying position, and Lance Stroll close behind there. And then we've got a little bit of a gap where we switch to the cars on the hard. tire. So Alexander Albon, best of the non-Q3 guys in P12. Nobody has been able to move up the order, but again, tires definitely a factor in that. There's Kvyat, Giovinazzi, P14 on the mediums. Lando Norris just behind him. Norris definitely should be faster than Gio, but with the hard compound versus the medium, he's only kind of just staying close behind. Russell getting a bit of a boost on the mediums. Low form for him. But still doing well, all things considered. And then Kubica on the hard tire, doing pretty well for himself there in the Williams. We got Verne, the first of the Manners. He's all the way up to P18 from starting, 21st? And that's only up 3 spots, I guess. But he is on the soft tire. Fernando Alonso down in P19. Alpine Racing, hard tire. Struggling. Really struggling in the back. Bottas has caught up to the back markers, the real back markers, not by 2. And made his way around Stoffel Van Dorn already. Van Dorn a bit off the pace compared to everyone else in practice, in qualifying, and now in the race. Likewise. Bottas getting ready to make a move on Alonso. This will be for P19. It's not much of a fight. Alonso giving him a hard time, though. It takes a few turns, and no, Bottas has not cleared him. I thought he was about to pull clear. He ends up having to pull in behind, but he's got enough of a straight there to get ahead. Alonso fighting back. We've got ourselves a nice little battle here. Bottas again trying to make a move. This time he goes clear, and it looks like he's starting to open up. There he goes. Pulling away from Alonso finally. Next up for him will be Jean-Eric Verne. We might be watching a little more of Bottas than anything else, as there's not much action going on out there. Down to P21, now 2 spots back for Bottas is Van Dorn. Again, Van Dorn's struggling quite a bit compared to everybody else, but we are still well off that pace as we're almost 30 seconds behind after just 16 laps, as Deegan has just been lapped. And oh, come on. Can I get this right? Now the tires are cold. Krone a little closer to the happy zone. Let's go ahead and fix that now. Also fix the fuel issues. Quite a gap opening between Deegan and Krone, though. This is really the first time since I've had these 2 drivers that we've seen Deegan significantly faster. I mean, there really should be close to half a second a lap between these 2, as Hamilton in P3 goes by. Vettel taking a little longer to get around Deegan, but does get by, still there in P4. And those cars at the front will be pitting soon. Sainz, who I mentioned would be the first to go, already has gone, and you can see with that extra penalty for Bottas, there's your 10 seconds, plus the early stop, plus the broken wing. And Bottas is about the penalty's length behind. Lance Stroll heading into the pits. Already on his way back out on the track. Comes out in P15. Not far in front of Bottas, so let's watch Bottas here. Bottas looking to make a move on the Williams of George Russell. Russell defending well through there. Ocon, of course, a real candidate to take Bottas' seat this season or maybe next, but the next man in line is, of course, George Russell, and so far he has really proven himself this season in the Williams. It is starting to rain. It is starting to rain. Got to check that. I knew there was a chance of rain today. It looks like we will be switching to intermediates pretty soon. So my driver's now looking really good. Timing wise, those on that hard compound really missing out. Those on the soft that have already pit are missing out. Pierre Gasly, the first to come in and put on the intermediates. That was one of those situations where he needed a pit stop. And instead of coming out on the softs, he comes out on the intermediates, and he's going to lose a ton of time here, as he could not make his tires last. Kimi Räikkönen, same issue. He pits, he puts on intermediates, and he's going to be well slow until there's a bit more water on the ground, and it's going to be at least a couple laps before that happens. Hamilton, Vettel, they pit, they put on the medium compound. Risky move. I'm going to try to stay out. It will get damp enough to put on intermediates. Nope, 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 you're not pitting yet. Not a chance. Okay, Krone, go ahead and go back to high mode there and go back to neutral there. I'm not sure we're going to pit. Right now, we're just in damp conditions. You don't really need intermediates for that. Not until it's actually wet. In terms of pace, Deegan dropping back of Pierre Gasly, who just went by. That'll be an interesting one, how we compare to Gasly. Max Verstappen has retaken the lead after the pit stops. So Verstappen, Hamilton, Vettel, Leclerc, all, other than Verstappen, all moving ahead of Pierre Gasly, who's now down to P5. The intermediates not working out well for him at all. Ricciardo has moved ahead of Nico Hülkenberg, and actually that battle right there, right in front of me. Hülkenberg has overtaken Daniel Ricciardo, by the way, so these two having a nice on-track battle at the moment, centered around the pit stop that they just made. They opted to stay with the medium compound. Sainz, who stopped much earlier, his soft tires already very quickly worn. Okay, it is just about time to bring this car in, and we're at 24 laps, which means we still have 30 something to go. That's what these tires should have made, but I made that big mistake of overheating and undercooling. I think we're going to stick with these. Yeah, see, I should be able to get about 36, and I have 30 to go. They'll make it. I just can't mess them up. But we're going to stay with the mediums because right now it's still only damp. It might get a little bit wet, but it's not going to get bad. We're going to stay with the mediums. We are not putting on those intermediates. You can see Gasly's losing a ton of time, and what little he may gain in the next handful of laps will not be enough. So Deegan is going to come in now. Krone we're going to keep out a little bit longer. There we go, Deegan into the pits. And it's a good stop, very good stop, 2.1 seconds. We do have the best pit crew out there, and she comes out ahead of Krone after the pit stop. That is something special right there. That is a nice drive by Deegan to stay ahead of Krone. Yes, she's got the better car, it should be, but we're finally seeing that performance come out. Fresh tires for Deegan. Will she stay ahead? Right now it is Kubica lapping our drivers. Kubica has not pitted yet. Raikkonen and Bottas. Oh, Bottas. Poor Bottas. Raikkonen has got a flat, crashed into Bottas. Bottas is cleared. But Bottas with the issue, and we're seeing Raikkonen go back. Raikkonen has pit, come out really right where my two drivers are with Deegan and Krone right there. Krone now ready to pit her one and only for the race. Go and attack what you have left here. Finish it out. Krohn's only advantage here is that she's managed to make her tires last an extra 4 or 5 laps compared to her teammate. I'm going to push for your outlap. And now you can see that gap between them has opened up quite a bit. About 18 seconds in between them. Jean-Eric Vergne, 80 seconds ahead. 80. That's rough. Van Dorn, though, that's our real comparison. Vergne, remember, was actually doing quite well on those softs. Pulled ahead. Track's still just damp. So it has not gotten wet, so it's a good thing. You can see whoever else was on the intermediates actually has already moved off of them. Gasly the only one. Gasly hanging on time-wise, staying in about the same spot now, so the intermediates are balanced for the next little bit anyway with the medium compound tire. After getting lapped, you can see Krohn now in the positive on fuel. So that is the second time being lapped. Deegan, not yet, still just once. I'd love to see a safety car right now because we would be on the same lap as quite a few of these cars here in the back. Too late now. Too late now. So any chances we had in this race were just ruined with that one because we are being lapped by Russell in 19th. So Van Dorn will lap us soon. Vergne will lap us soon because they're just behind. And then that's that. That was our hopes of anything. But when you're 3 seconds a lap off the pace, you know, it is what it is as the Ferrari just flies through there. Gasly back up to 4th place, so apparently starting to make good time on those intermediates. Gasly has picked up 5 seconds in the last couple of laps. Even though the track is still just damp. Intermediates starting to have a little bit of value, but remember, Gasly was in P2, so Gasly is still 10 seconds down from where he was. And he's going to require an extra pit stop before too long as the track begins to dry. And whatever benefit he's getting right now is going to be long gone. Okay, we have some fuel to burn. Let's go ahead and start doing that. And yeah, see, we're at the height of the weather now. It looks like we're going to clear up, dry out. There's a difficult one. Deegan being lapped by the next car on track. That's Jean-Eric Vergne getting by. Again, Van Dorn will pit soon, so we'll unlap ourselves while Van Dorn is in the pits. But race essentially done. Alonso with another lockup. Alonso's been doing that a lot in this race. All those drivers on the hard compound are right about that time. They should be pitting here any moment. So we'll pick up a little bit of ground on them, but it's not going to have any impact on our race. So here we go. Max Verstappen in the lead. Doing well. Hamilton staying steady at about 4 seconds behind. That gap has been very similar for a long time here. Vettel, though, was 1 second behind Hamilton. Now is over 3 seconds behind. So Vettel has lost a bit of ground to Hamilton over the last 10-15 laps. Gasly, though, continues to close that gap. It was 20. It was 14. It's now inside of 10. But the track is drying out, so we could see this gap start to go the other direction soon. But for the moment, it's Gasly still closing in. So just a moment ago, we saw it open back up by about a second. So is the tide turning? Gasly half a second off the pace that time. As the script flipped, track's drying out pretty quick here. Gasly's still on good time right now. Maybe pushing? No, not pushing. Gasly driving neutral. I suppose we'll stay with Gasly for a little bit. Big gap to Leclerc now. Leclerc 22 seconds behind. Leclerc was part of that battle. Just 1 second behind Bottas earlier? Before Bottas had the problem, or was it Vettel? Somewhere in that mix anyway. Gasly's still good pace, but we can see that it's not really going the right direction. It is slowly going back out. Almost 10 seconds now. So, lost just about a second here. Now out to over 10. And then slowly increasing. Gasly's going to have to pit here really soon as the track is nearly dry. 11 seconds. Now it's going out really quickly. So Gasly is going to lose a ton of time if he does not pit soon. Gap between my two drivers is now at 18 seconds and counting. It's continuing to grow. Van Dorn did pit finally, and we are within 100 seconds. But that's a big gap. 100 seconds over 37 laps. It's under 3 seconds a lap with the bonuses that we have. There we go. Gasly is pitting. I was expected that was going to come soon. Gasly comes out behind Leclerc. P5. Will he come out ahead of Hulkenberg? Only just. Hulkenberg just behind him there. He blocks him off, and we've got a yellow. Kvyat has crashed. Daniel Kvyat is out of the race. Back into the garage there, and that's it for Kvyat's day, and that will get us a new position. We'll ride long enough with Deegan to see her move up to 21st. It could take a while, as Kvyat was much higher up the grid than we are. The four drivers to worry about. Albon is up the grid a little ways there, but still well shy of the points. All of those cars on the hard compound have now pit. Deegan went through the garage that time and still did not overtake Kvyat. Gonna have to go one full lap, one additional lap around this track in order to make it there. We're gonna speed up a little bit more here through this portion of the race as we're sitting on 40 of 56 laps complete. And finally, Deegan moves up to 21st. Krone moves up to 22nd. That's right, it's not the garage, it's where they crashed. Gap between the two cars is now 20 seconds. So Deegan pulls out a little bit more. We've got a yellow in sector 1, but no sign of a crash. No investigation, nothing like that. Vettel has just passed Lewis Hamilton. From 3 seconds behind, Vettel quickly closed down. Maybe it was Hamilton. Maybe Hamilton had a problem, went off track. That could be. Because there was over 3 seconds between the two drivers. And all of a sudden Vettel's ahead of Hamilton. And we saw that yellow. So I wonder if Hamilton had either a spin or went wide. Hamilton now trying to come back at Vettel. Trying to overtake him. And you can see he's clearly faster. At least Hamilton did not pull a Vettel in Canada and re-enter the track and block Vettel. He let him get by, and now he's going to race him, so no penalty. Oh, big crash, big crash! Was that Max Verstappen? It was Max Verstappen who spun. You saw him recovering from the spin, and he recovers to position number 3 on track, so Hamilton apparently makes a mistake, allegedly. Verstappen clearly does make a mistake as he spins, and it is now Sebastian Vettel in the lead of this race, inheriting not one but 2 positions. Lewis Hamilton just behind him continues to try to re-overtake. We've got a yellow in sector 1. Again, another problem. Verstappen 3 seconds behind. And all of these guys looking like they may have to pit again. Vettel a little bit better off, but you can see the problems with Hamilton and Verstappen have led them to increased tire wear, and they are going to have to pit here before the end of this race. Vettel might try to stretch those tires and hang on. Krone has been lapped. Go back into a push mode there. Big gap between my two drivers now as it's continuing to go out. 27 seconds behind. Yeah, 28 now. And we are 125 seconds down. So 2.5 seconds a lap. A little under 2.5 seconds a lap. No, a little over. Hamilton has closed back up on Vettel. After that crash, Hamilton had dropped... not crash. After that spin by Verstappen, Hamilton had lost about a second. But here he is making a move to the outside, now to the inside. And Hamilton takes the race lead from Sebastian Vettel. This is the first time in this race that Hamilton has been in the lead. But again, all of the first 3 drivers at least looking like they're going to have to pit. Leclerc probably going to have to pit. Does Gasly inherit the race lead before the end? His soft tires should go to the end. Should. They might not. They might not even make it. Hulkenberg looks like he'll have to pit again. Ricardo has pit. Ricardo has made his last stop. He's on softs. He'll get to the end on those, but most of the field looking like they're going to need, or at least front runners looking like they're going to need one more stop before the end of this race. Hamilton coming up to lap Kimi Räikkönen, the former Ferrari man. Now with Alfa Romeo just outside of the points in P11. Carlos Sainz ahead of him by almost 10 seconds. And on the hard compound, Räikkönen will stop again, probably. Sainz will not. So Hamilton into the pits. Vettel into the pits. Verstappen into the pits. And Leclerc moves into the race lead, and another yellow flag in Sector 1. And Hamilton under investigation. What happened there? Hamilton's tires are down to 21%. Hamilton had a collision with somebody. I did not see it, but he is under investigation, and it has ruined his tires. And Leclerc is only in P2, 4 seconds down. So was it Leclerc that he came together with as he came out of the pits? No penalty for Hamilton, but I'm not sure those tires are going to make it the last 4 laps, nor is Leclerc likely to make it. Hamilton down to 17%. He's going to have to pit again, which means, again, Vettel is going to inherit potentially a race win here. Hamilton decides not to pit that time. No pit for Hamilton, 15% on the tires. Is he going to go for it and try to hang on to the end? 14% and counting. Leclerc also having issues. Will Leclerc hold up his teammate, or will he let Vettel through to try to go for the end? No, Hamilton's going to pit this lap. Hamilton is coming in. He stops. He puts on mediums. He's good to go. We've got another flag, yellow flag, Sector 1, another issue. Räikkönen has pit. Hulkenberg has pit. It was Giovinazzi, not Räikkönen, who pit there. And Vettel into the race lead ahead of Charles Leclerc. He does let his teammate through. Leclerc, no pit for him. He's on 15% as well, but just a couple laps to go. So Vettel appears. And Gasly! Oh, Gasly pits. Gasly could have made it to the end. Another yellow flag. Sector 1. Problem after problem after problem in Sector 1. And Leclerc and Verstappen coming pretty quick here. So we've got a huge battle. We've got 3 cars within 1 second of each other after problem. This is just amazing. One problem after another. There is Verstappen making a move. It's the final lap of the race. Leclerc decides to stay out, so he does not pit, but he's going to drop to the end of the podium in P3. Hamilton, with 3 stops, is 8 seconds behind. He's going to come fast, but in the mediums, he won't catch him. Verstappen drops to 2.5 seconds, so Leclerc blocks Verstappen long enough to drop him away from Sebastian Vettel, and Vettel will win this race. Vettel has won. Verstappen ends up in P2 after he spins himself out of the race win. Leclerc with problems after a collision with Hamilton. Hamilton with multiple problems He's taken out, and then he makes his own mistake coming out of the pits, and he finishes in P4. Gasly takes an extra pit stop, finishing in P5. Ricciardo 6, Hulkenberg 7. Deegan finishes in 21st, with Krohn in 22nd. Big gap between them, though Deegan's tires were pretty well shot at the end of that race, so Deegan lost a little bit of time to Krohn, but otherwise it was about a half minute ahead. Those two ultimately finished as they should, but unfortunately the gap was back to 2.5 seconds per lap for the race. If we're lucky, there will be some scrutineering issues, some penalties. There are. Hamilton, 10-second penalty. That was his time penalty. Pushed to the end. He still finishes in P4. He does get the fastest lap. Bottas, 2 drive-through penalties. Raikkonen, 1 drive-through penalty. And no penalties that affect the grid order at all in the back. The only penalty applied at the end of the race was Hamilton with his collision to Charles Leclerc that cost both of them the potential race win. And Vettel, again, for the third, fourth time this season, is gifted a race victory. We end up 2 laps down to Stoffel Vandoorne, which is awful. That is not what we wanted to see. Halfway through the season now. The only good news is we still have all of these teams with no points. But the unfortunate thing is we're still way, way off the pace of everybody else. I don't think we can make enough part improvements. Now, the big ticker will be if, come the end of the season, are we going to be relegated or has this mod turned relegation off? I doubt that it has, meaning we really face that prospect of getting relegated down. And then the question becomes, do I restart the series and play as Williams or Manor or Alpine? Probably take Williams, to be honest. And then try to build a team up from there. I think that's what I would end up doing if we are relegated. If we're not relegated, of course we stick with it and we keep working and working and working and trying to make something happen. Of course, this is that negative thing of disappointing race happening again and again. Lowering the marketability makes it much harder to get decent sponsorships race after race. I know we could find better drivers than this. I mean, these are still the worst drivers on the grid, but from what we've seen, most of the drivers out there are going to ask for way more money per race, which means we're going to lose more money, which we can't really afford to do. And we're not going to gain a whole lot of marketability. But if I find somebody, because they're both in 70s or low 80s for marketability, if we do find somebody that has that 100% marketability and is near their level, then we will definitely say goodbye to one of these drivers and take that opportunity. But big change to the headquarters now, as we have finally finished the factory and the design center, and this will open things right up. Those next upgrades, $25 million. We can't afford that right now, but what we can get on the cheap is the first level for almost all of these centers. So we are going to definitely invest in 2 or 3 of these, depending on the money. Test track, $1 million. You betcha. We will instantly take care of that one. Okay. I think this is going to be more on cost. Helipad, 5-star sponsors unlocked. It's only $750,000. We might as well, even though we are nowhere near that point. But that's a small amount of money to spend for that. Tour Center, $50,000 per race. Yes, please. Okay, I need at least 1 more upgrade right now. We can't afford to do too much, but what are we looking at? Simulator is rear wing, suspension, gearbox. Let's go with the gearbox. So telemetry center. And there you go. That's a whole new group of headquarters upgrades on the way. 2 finished, 6 on the way. But that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. And remember, I'm aiming for the best of the best. So if you're ready to join me on my journey, hit subscribe and tune in next time on my Road to the Record. Bye for now.